All right, y'all. We're here. We're doing it. We'll wait a couple seconds, minutes for people to get in the room. I am Legina. I am the host of the LaRae Infinity Let's Talk podcast. And y'all know we are here for a special Saturday edition. These Saturday editions have been lit, and we are dropping gems and picking up knowledge from powerful women in our communities all around the country and soon to be the world. I'm so excited today to be here with a friend, a goal friend, an entrepreneurial sis, Melissa. Melissa is the founder of My Retreat. And today we're going to be talking about, on this special edition, mindfulness and self-care. So get ready. Pre-warning, if you don't have a piece of chocolate, get a piece of chocolate. And while you're getting your piece of chocolate, I'm going to keep talking. Okay, so for those of y'all who don't know, like I said, I'm Legina. I'm the founder and creative mind behind LaRae Infinity, which is my brand. My brand is focused around uplifting communities, women, using my creative outlets. So I am an artist. Obviously, I'm a podcaster, and I love ideation. So I love sitting down with people and helping them get through their creative processes for business, for events, for ideas, everything and anything you can think about. So that's me. Currently, I am working on building a brick and mortar here in Houston, Texas, called the Us Space. It's intentional workspace for the unapologetic, self-starting woman, and always, of course, keeping women of color in the picture and in everything else. So that's me. That's what's going on. Once again, we are here for a special edition of Let's Talk Mindfulness and Self-Care. If you're watching, and when you're watching later, y'all drop where you're from in the comments. And we are so glad to have you here. So without further ado, we're going to bring up Melissa, and she's going to introduce herself. Y'all show her some love, give her those hearts, drop those comments. I'll do my best to keep up with it. Y'all know how it goes on my lives. Sometimes I'm just all lost, but Melissa's going to break it down and tell us who she is and how she moves in the world. So here we go, Melissa. What up?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me with you today. I love that phrase. You said goal friends?
Goal friends. Yeah.
Love that. Absolutely. We're setting our goals and achieving them.
Yeah, and in some type of way holding each other accountable. So I appreciate you, and I definitely appreciate how you're moving through the world. So I want to know your history. Who are you?
I am Melissa Mueller Douglas. As the founder of My Retreat, I help women to slow down and to schedule self-care so that they can achieve wellness. And wellness has always been very important to me throughout my life, whether it be the way that I exercise, the way that I pause to spend time with myself, and the way that I eat, the way that I have intentional relationships, all of these things, right, have always been uber important to me. I am a wife, a mom, a daughter, a granddaughter. I have so many external responsibilities. And of course, I have my own hopes and dreams and creativity that I want to keep true to. So I do my best setting my intention each day to focus on one of those things that make me my true self.
Okay, so what I just heard is you were the friend that I want around to help me chill and appreciate life and center. Um, I don't want to get too far off subject because we're here to eat chocolate and for you to teach me how to chill and do all this stuff. But I want to know some of the things that you eat that you found that have been really helpful in your healthiness and in your body wellness.
Yeah, definitely avocados. I adore avocados. If I am busy and not able to get right to lunch, you will find me slicing open an avocado and just eating it. to last me, 30 minutes before I can actually get to my lunch. Uh, Chia seeds are one of my favorite foods to have. They don't taste like anything. Originally, I thought they looked like fish eggs, so I was like, don't bring them my way. But once I started incorporating them into my lifestyle, I just put a tablespoon into a cup of juice, let it sit for 20 minutes, and then drink it. And it's like homemade bubble tea. I mean, you just have to get used to it. But it's one of my favorite routines.
Okay, chia seeds. Okay, they do look like little fish eggs,
They
but
do.
okay. I'm going to try that. I'm going to write it down. And what are the benefits of chia seeds if they don't taste like anything?
So fiber, right?
Oh,
And the benefits that go along with fiber.
simple enough. We'll just leave it at fiber, healthiness, all that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we know who you are, your granddaughter, and that says enough, right? Because that's lineage. We're talking about generations, your mom, so that talks about you forwarding your generations, and your wife, and that encompasses a lot. So we know who you are as a human. What are you working on right now? What's going on with you?
Yeah, I will definitely share that with you. I just love that you pulled out the ancestry, right? So that's something that keeps me grounded and
Mm,
keeps me motivated as I'm working on those things that I'm working on because I recognize what what it took and some of what I don't know that it took for me to be here in this moment today. And as I think about sacrifices that my mom had to make, challenges that my grandmother went through, uh, and then of course on and on, generations before them. It's humbling, but also motivating to remember
mm,
uh, that I'm not just here for myself, right? By myself. I have this lineage that I need to then also consider moving forward. So I'm working to create a sustainable lifestyle that uh, can incorporate my brand, my business, that can help to bring some intergenerational wealth so that my great grandchildren can know that self-care is a necessity
mm,
and they can have it be a part of their culture and not something that's meant for people either because they have enough money to do it or because they feel like it's the only thing that will help them get to tomorrow, but truly
mm.
a part of daily living that helps us um, to be our authentic selves.
Yeah, and I think, well, we know it's a challenge every day to walk through the world and be yourself, whatever that is. We've talked about that in I Fund Women of Color, just being women of color, being Black, being different, talking different, not seeming or looking or whatever it is, how society has told people that things are supposed to be. And so, yeah, that gave me chills when you said my great grandkids because I was like that's we're in the middle, and that's what's next, so that's beautiful. But yeah, so what are you working on? I know we went all the way off on that, but it's so us and it's so relevant that it matters.
Right now, I have on our iFund Women platform, I have a campaign that's happening to raise for our chocolate mindfulness app. The app is intended for everyone, and I say that because I have people who practice chocolate mindfulness who are between ages 18 to 95. That's been the span so far. And I have people who are retired, people who are in the midst of their career, and people who are just starting, exploring what types of jobs that they want to have. And I recognize the importance of a work life balance, especially in the midst of this pandemic. Uh,
Mm,
so, people who've attended our in person chocolate mindfulness retreats. Uh, come in, they share their intention for our time together, and they go through the body scan, the guided imagery, of course, eating chocolate mindfully, and then the gratitude journaling detox. And in between those sessions, they reach out and say, what can I do? How can I continue that feeling that I felt when I was at your retreat?
Mm.
So the app was brought to my attention as, can you make it? And if so, when? And so last year I started working on it, beta testing to see what it is that people would want to have in it. And this year, what really struck me was once we moved in March of 2020 to completely virtual retreats, I I thought maybe people would be missing out on the virgin blueberry mojitos or
Mm.
the hand-selected chocolates that I bring to each retreat, and the response was surprising. Ladies are telling me that it's truly the amount of time that it's set out to be. So it's easy to put into their schedule. They don't have to think about going to park and finding a building. It's just you turn it on, you have the experience, and then you can move into the remainder of your day from there. But really, I'm working on ways that I know help professionals to slow down and to focus on their self-care so that they can achieve wellness.
Yeah, I love that. And I've like low key experienced like a quick practice of what you do. And I will tell you from personal experience, and this, y'all, the best part about my podcast is, I come real. So you don't have to worry about this being an infomercial, but y'all, she's the shit. And she really does just sit here and have you take a moment, even when as an entrepreneur, I'm thinking about the 10,000 other things that I need to be doing. And there's this super value proposition. And forgive us for being like founder, entrepreneur, geeking out with all these terms that we're being taught in entrepreneurial university. But like that value proposition, that what's that thing that makes you different or makes you stand out? And one of the things that, Melissa, I personally see in you is just this steadfast calmness that you keep on you. I'm like, how is she doing that? Like the first time I talked to you on the phone, you were riding your bike through the city. You
So
remember? And I was like, even when you didn't even sound frazzled, like I'm aware you were because you were vocal about it. You were like, oh, there's a lot going on. But like in my head, I was imagining like this Snow White type character that's just like moving through saying hello to the birds. Like everybody in the neighborhood was saying hi to you and you were stopping and speaking to them. But I didn't feel like my time was being wasted or I was being disrespected because you were doing that. I was like, wow, this is so cool. This woman really has a grasp on how to find her center. And I say find because I don't believe that you ever stay in your center. I think part of being a human is always finding it. So yeah, it's so amazing.
yeah. Yeah, it was such a pleasure. I remember that conversation, and I think I was heading to the ATM, which is like a 20-minute bike ride from my house. And so I figured it would be just there and back, a breeze. It was great weather. And then, yeah, so some people that I hadn't seen in a while who were like, hi, I haven't seen you. Tell me what's your contact information. And it's just a decision that I have to make in the moment, right? I knew that you were cool peoples. I knew that that we had something that we could offer one another and talk about and share. And I definitely wanted to support what you're doing and your incredible work and your goals that you have set. So I knew that I could, instead of apologize, just share resources and be an open book for whatever conversations happen, such as this one down the road.
Yeah.
And then not worry about the future, right? So you could have made that decision, this is not going to work for me, we're going to have to reschedule. And I totally would have respected that. But if I sat there and worried about it, what is she going to think about me? The what ifs that
Mm.
get us in that ruminating mindset, it would have had me looking disrespectful to the person who was in front of me in person, and the person who's on the phone with me, and then where am I at then, right? So we just roll with it and really find who those people are who are in your corner, and you're one of those for me and many entrepreneurs. So I thank you for being you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You said unapologetic, and that's what my brand is about. Like the podcast, women telling their unapologetic stories. The us space, unapologetic self-starting. Like we're unapologetic, and I don't think that means moving in the world in a way where you're not considerate, right? Like there's a difference, but being unapologetic is me not apologizing for my hair, or me not apologizing because I'm a cusser. Like I fucking cuss all the time, and I've learned not to be too apologetic about it because that's who I am. And I've also done the research behind it and found out that people that cuss are very passionate and are very honest people. And so cool. So real quick, because I see people coming in, I want to welcome you. Thank you for watching this live stream, LaRae Infinity Let's Talk podcast special edition. We are talking about mindfulness and self-care. If you don't have your piece of chocolate yet, get it ready because that is coming up. Yes. Oh, is that Dove dark chocolate? Oh gosh, I can't believe I knew that. That's crazy.
Y'all, chocolate connoisseur on our hands.
Oh Lord, don't tell anybody. Y'all, let's see where you're from. Drop where you're from in the chat. I can definitely see it. I'll shout you out. This is Melissa. She's the founder of My Retreat. And we're just like getting this backstory and really just talking about moving through the world and how we know each other. And we're going to move into a little bit more about my retreat, but it's my retreat. Right. So we're going to move into My Retreat, and that's capital M, capital Y retreat. Right. One word, revolutionizing it. And right before we move into that, I still want to talk and celebrate you some more because I fund women of color people. And like I've been saying, we're girlfriends, San Angelo, Texas. My mama's in the house. Hey, mama. But I want to talk about these awards you're getting and these things you're doing, because I very much feel like a win for one is a win for all. And, as we were talking to ladies in our virtual online community and we were helping them and we were like, damn, they got that. Shit, they got that. We knew it's coming up and it comes in and it's your turn. And I want to know what you're doing and what you just won.
Yeah, thank you. American Express has a 100 for 100 program highlighting 100 female Black entrepreneurs, and I am one of them. The experience of learning about it was phenomenal because I didn't know that they were going to announce that I was one of the grant awardees when they announced it, and of course they caught it on camera. What I love is that feeling of connection, right? The people who are in the program, I know some of them through various entrepreneurial channels, so I get to do that extra big shout out. I have generally I have a got done list, so I'll stay with that. I've connected with 3 other awardees, and then as far as that to-do list, that never-ending one, I want to reach out to the other 96 women because they deserve this spotlight. And when you talk about bringing the rest of us along with us for the ride, it absolutely is the case because we're going to get this additional support in being marketed, and I hear that it's going to be in some publications coming up. And so with that, if somebody's going to Google my name, they're then going to see this podcast that I was recently at, right? And what more do I want or could hope for than to lift organizations and entrepreneurs up with me with that tidal wave, and they truly are waves, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we're really up high, and sometimes we're in a place that feels kind of low. And if we're all in it together, then you have people such as yourself who reach out when we don't go to a I Fund Women meeting, like, hey, I miss seeing you. How are you doing?
Mhm.
And that just brings a sense of community. Uh, and so I'm really, really pleased and delighted to be a part of this cohort, and uh, have a platform to learn from.
Yeah, 100%. So it's the 100 for 100 award for American Express. And I was watching your IG. I think I stalk everybody on IG at this point because I'm like, I saw your IG about this, and it's like legit. But you have a really fun IG page, y'all. I'm putting it up. Y'all start following her, especially on IG, just because that's the platform I love. But you talked about it being 100 days of resources and financing for your My Retreat business. So
Right?
congratulations, big up to American Express. And
Yeah.
like we talk about, it is popular to be a woman of color right now, to be a black woman, to be a woman. And we're riding this wave. We're applying for stuff. Sometimes they ask a lot of questions and we've got to figure out answers. So I commend you, and I'm excited to see where that goes. And even more excited the gems you'll start dropping when you learn shit. So and I'm always writing it down. So trust, I'm excited for you, and many more funding opportunities and many more grants, because grants do not have to be paid back and they do not have interest. So many more of those to come.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got a heart over here. All right. People are loving that. Um, so my retreat, I know we've kind of glossed over it. She said, your voice is so smooth. It is. So my retreat, we've kind of glossed over it a little bit, but and you talked about how it started and why you're doing this in your pivot. But can you go a little bit more into what the pivot has looked like for you, and for y'all that aren't entrepreneurial and talking pivots and stuff? A lot of businesses prior to the 2020 lockdown, we're moving in the world and doing physical things like we all were doing. And when we locked down, businesses had to either pivot and survive or fall. And Melissa has successfully pivoted with My Retreat. And she was saying earlier that it was a physical retreat. And she talked about the need for the app and her going virtual. So I just want to know a little bit more about that.
You said you're My Retreat, and the name My Retreat is intentional for two
Mm.
reasons. The first is when we say it, it's because we have part ownership of it, right? It's time for me time, for self-care. And I'm on this mission to reach 1 million women with self-care practices because I believe that it's a necessity, and I know with chocolate mindfulness it's luxurious. The other piece of my retreat is that I knew in 2017 when I began the business that at some point I wanted to have my husband, whose first name is Yakub. He's also the artist of all the artwork in this space.
Amazing.
Uh, he I knew that I wanted to have him co-facilitate a retreat. So initially talking with him about mindfulness, what it is, how we do it, he was supportive, and yet, you know, didn't really feel like it would vibe with uh, his lifestyle maybe, or his group of friends. And over the years, as he has learned more about the benefits of mindfulness,
Mm.
and uh, you know, the groups of people that are drawn to it for those benefits, he started coming more on board. So the why I kept him capitalized, is for Melissa and Yakub. So little secret meaning in there.
Did we
And
just get like a LaRae Infinity secret? Did we get one of
We
those, like, for
did.
the Let's
You
Talk? I
got
love
one.
those.
You
Wow,
got
that's
one.
beautiful. That is
Um,
beautiful.
and so this December, on December 26th, will be our first co-facilitated retreat. It is a couples retreat, same format as the others. And yet, when couples are signing up, they're learning that they'll be breaking out into rooms with myself or Yakub. And then when we come back together, we're going to focus on the gratitude piece. And I am positive that it will be a transformational experience. And the timing is completely intentional because we know after holiday season, after any year, that a lot of us need to reset and relax and rejuvenate, and that's what the retreat experience offers. So I'm beyond excited for that day that's coming up.
I'm excited too. Like, I legitimately am. One, my makes so much sense in so many ways because I want to say my, and it's like I had to get that permission. But now I don't need it. Like, it's my retreat.
Sure.
Like, you know what I mean? And then it's powerful because I'm like, that's my homegirl, and I know what the MY means. So I love it. And two things. One, the fact that you talk about kind of you practicing your self-love, self-care, your practices at home and seeing them change your loved ones or your husband in your own household to the point where that's his practice now. That is your beta test. That is your original test. That's amazing. And then on top of that, as soon as you said couples in 2020, I was like, well, we know that, like, and not saying that any of your couples are, but like relationships are really being tested in 2020. 911 calls for domestic violence are going up. People are breaking up. People are moving, or they're realizing, oh, I did really just bunk in with my best friend. And now we're like doing great. But there's these points where you're like, look, I've been with you for like 8 months now, and I'd rather not be. So your retreat is timely. Is it going to be in person?
It's going to be virtual because of the feedback since March. I've found this method that's working virtually, and we're going to keep it that way. Uh, the the excitement that I have around it is personal and because of the community, because we've been married for 9 years, and every year we like to do something new for our anniversary, try a new experience. And this
Mhm.
year the plan was to go to New York City to iFly because I have zero desire to fall out of a plane intentionally, but I do want to know what it feels like about 8 feet up.
Yes. I thought I was the only person, like, when I worked at a bar in Austin, Texas, we had pretty flexible schedules, right? Like, bartender full time can be like 20 hours, but it's very taxing. It's physical. And anyways, I got permission to miss a weekend shift and go skydiving last minute. We were out of town together, and everybody's like, yeah, I'm going. And I was like, no, I need to get back to work. Like, Sunday's my busiest day. And I get back and my boss is like, oh, you could have totally stayed. And in that moment, it manifested to me that it wasn't that I was worried about going to work because I knew I could get out. But I was like, the idea of skydiving is amazing, right?
Mhm.
But I also am a person that I'm not trying to tempt God, the gods, the universes, the fates, whoever and whatever you believe. I'm not trying to tempt nothing. Like, there's enough in this body shell going on, and against me, flying out of a plane doesn't do it for me, but floating does.
Yes, yes.
So that's actually a thing.
Know that people are missing out on their birthday celebrations. They've missed out on whatever their plans may have been. And of course, we come up with whatever the alternative is, and it's enough. However, we want to highlight those relationships and those couples and really make this special space for them
Mhm.
to relax and to focus on self-care and mindfulness and gratitude, and we are hopeful that it will help couples to feel that special experience for 2020.
I will take your hopeful and raise it to absolutely will, because
It's
I
a
know
goal.
that's what's yeah, I know that's what's happening. Okay, so half of my listeners are probably married with kids and everything else, and the other half are highly single like me. Whoop whoop. So, what do you offer for like the single woman and her needs? Because I know you have a lot of that.
We do indeed. So this month, November 28th, again, after a holiday in the US, we have the Chocolate Mindfulness Retreat, 90 minutes. And it is for ladies. Uh, I always have a theme that's based on a Black artist. And so this month is based on Missy Elliott's song Lose Control. And that is the name of the retreat. And over the years being a therapist, I've I've found that a lot of people focus on what's not happening when they are putting in all of the effort that they can, all of the control that they know how to make something happen the way they want it to, and it doesn't go the way that they planned.
Mm,
And so, with this idea of letting go, or how I'm twisting it, losing control, uh, there's there's more space, there's more opportunity for the unknown that can feel scary sometimes, and also can be some of the greatest moments that happen for us because we didn't plan it out. Uh, we just let the moment happen in that present moment. So that is the retreat that's coming up, and I have 3 tickets that are remaining, so whoever is listening that wants them can definitely grab them. And
okay.
I invite you and I welcome you to join us next Saturday.
Yes. So next Saturday, and can they find this on your IG?
Yep, so if you go to rockmyretreats.com, that's our website, and go to the tickets section. For the pandemic, I've offered 2 price points. I have the general ticket is $45 for the 90-minute experience, and then for your first time, it's $25. And I wanted to do that because I know that the people who attend the retreat feel relief from stress, and that is the greatest gift that I can give people during this time.
Right. So rockmyretreat.com. And you
Got it.
said the price point is, you said $25 for your first time?
$25 for your first time.
Oh, wow. Okay. I may have to score one of those last tickets though, for real. Like that's a really, really good price point. And you only have 3 tickets left. And so y'all get them if you don't want to be blocked out of this. Is it your last one in 2020?
That's the last one for women. That's right.
The
And
last one for women.
next year we're going to incorporate it with the Chocolate Mindfulness app. So this intimate feel that we've curated for the past 3 years is going to change, and I'm ready for it. Scaling up is necessary because in order to reach 1 million women, uh, we have to do it in groups, right? not
Mhm.
not one on one, but uh, this this particular retreat is so intimate and is the 90-minute experience. So I absolutely recommend it, and it's going to be the end of a chapter, and the next chapter I definitely will be dropping some hints to the exciting things that'll be happening in 2021 real soon on Instagram.
Okay, cool. So the last my retreat for women only is November 28th, and it's a lose control theme. There's 3 tickets left.
3 tickets.
They are $25. And when I sign up for this retreat, what can I expect when I go into this virtual world with you?
You get you get me. So come on over, right?
Period. Stop, everybody. Just period. You get her. Period. That is good. Okay, but what? Yeah.
So what I find is that the validation that happens in that space from the other women saying, this is what I'm doing for self-care that's working. And other ladies will say, I thought about doing that. I haven't tried it yet. I want to do that. It's this space for being your truest self, bringing in through guided imagery the part of you that is controlling, right? We all have that planner, that person who wants certain things done a certain way, and really honoring that piece of you, and then giving her permission to pause and take a break so that your creative self, your playful self, all of those selves that for some of us uh, happen before our kids, or for some of us we say we're going to do that when we're on vacation, can really come out, and we can feel that joy and happiness uh, that we want to be experiencing for whatever period of time. So really looking into that part of us that is controlling, thanking her for being there because she's gotten us into many opportunities, opened
Mhm.
many doors, and yet she doesn't have to be turned on at full blast all the time.
Turned on at full blast all the time. Wow. Okay. Like those words, they sit with me because I think that in my energy, I'm a Cancer, so I can sit alone for hours and be perfectly okay. And but I feed off of people's energy, and I give really powerful energy to people. So I the older I get, um, and not in age, but just in maturity and life experience, I learn how to not, right? And sometimes just be the phrase of 2020, be mindful and protective of your energy, but for real, like I really do. I learn how to do that. And it's super important. Can we practice a little chocolate mindfulness if you don't mind?
I would love to. I
Okay.
saved it for now. I do practice once a day, uh, and so this piece has been waiting for you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So y'all, we're about to do a chocolate mindfulness exercise with Melissa, the founder and the mastermind behind chocolate mindfulness. And she's the founder of my retreat. And so if you don't have your piece of chocolate, I'm gonna like count to 5 virtually. You pause it. Pause it if you're watching the playback. But get your piece of chocolate ready. Mine is a piece of dark chocolate with sea salt on it and caramel. And I'm not going to even tell. Yes.
Wait. That's
Oh my
exactly what
gosh.
mine is. Look.
We are so linked up right now. Like, we're so linked up. And I'm not going to lie, like, as soon as I got the yes from you and the go on this to do this particular thing, we're getting claps like, yes, we're about to do this. Yes. But as soon as I got the go from you, I went to, like the wholesale food places. And when the pandemic first started, I was like, this is my one shame, is that when everybody is stocking up on toilet paper and paper towels, I went to Costco's and I got the thing of this chocolate.
I love that.
I was like, I can't go without it, but I
Good
haven't
for
eaten it.
you.
I haven't eaten it. And when you first did this chocolate mindfulness with us one on one, um, or in our small little intimate group, I was like, ooh, I really need to start doing that. And I saved the chocolate for this. So I just opened it. I have a test piece and a backup piece just in case. And I'm ready. I'm ready when you are.
Fabulous. What you said is so true for the participants, whether they be at the women's retreat or our corporate retreats that we offer for organizations, nonprofit and for-profit organizations. Because when we put something on our calendar and we schedule it, it's like this extra piece that
Mhm.
helps us keep true to it. So when we don't do that, then we hear those phrases like you shared, I should be doing this or I want to be doing this more versus just doing it
Mhm.
because there are benefits. So I'm ready. Let's do this together.
Okay.
All right. So you take the chocolate, placing it in the palm of your hand, noticing its weight. Listen to the sound the wrapper makes as you unwrap the wrapper. Look at your chocolate, noticing its color, its size, its shape, areas of shine or dullness, and looking at it as though it's the first piece that you've ever seen. Bring the chocolate up to your lips, noticing any changes that might be happening in your mouth. Take in 3 deep breaths. And then take your first bite, rolling the chocolate across your taste buds, recognizing any places that might be registering the flavor differently or more intensely than others. And continue with the remainder of your chocolate. I've had a handful of women, and there have been a lot of people who have practiced chocolate mindfulness with me. A handful who say, "What do I do? I'm not eating sugar." Or I think there have been 2 who said that they don't like chocolate. Um, no judgment. So uh, people will bring a piece of fruit or a cup of tea. My favorite that I was not expecting was barbecue chips at one of our retreats. So you bring what makes you feel happy, chew, taste, smell, like all of the senses. Just have an experience with your food. And so, how is that for you today?
Yeah. And y'all drop in the comments how that chocolate mindfulness exercise went for you. So this is my second time doing chocolate mindfulness, and it was different than the first time for me.
Mhm.
The first time I used a kind bar that had chocolate in it, dark chocolate.
I remember that.
And it actually made me start eating those kind bars, because before, when I was eating them, or when I bought them, the idea was, oh, quick snack. They were the little minis, 100 calories, great. Um, and I don't like peanuts or almonds or anything. And I don't know, in that very moment, like, somehow I started liking almonds, which is crazy. Like, you can ask my mom, like, she's probably like going to go buy all the almonds in the world now. But I'm still baffled at it, honestly. And even when I'm thinking about getting a snack and I go to get the little bar, I'm like, oh, I don't like these. And then I'm like, I do like these.
Mhm.
And I remember like tasting these little like Cocoa Krispies that they put in there, stuff that like I've never taken the time out of like even the times I've tried kind bars, because in Austin is a beta testing city. So you walk around downtown, you might end up with 15 different free samples. And those are one of the things, yeah. And those are one of the things I remember before they went global or international, they were handing those out in Austin. And so I've had them before and I was like, it's good. Like I'd throw it in my bar bag, and if I'm dying, I try to eat it. So
Mhm.
that was the first chocolate mindfulness experience. This one, to your question specifically, um, I don't think I've ever like smelled dark chocolate. I just started eating it like maybe a year or two ago, and it has a really good smell. I noticed when I held it up to my lips, one, my first um, my first reaction was to want to bite. So that tells me that I'm not doing like a child would originally do. And you know how children, you're like, eat this, and they're like,
Yes,
and they do that. And
they
so you
do.
took me back to like knowing that I need to retrain myself into like, you're kind of taught that when you're doing that, it's slightly rude, right? Um, my mom's saying she's eating hazelnut and dark chocolate. So yes,
Ooh, that's
yeah,
right.
that's good. But
But don't play with your food, right?
yeah, don't play with your food.
Or eat your food so you can have dessert. There's so many rules that come
Yes,
out. Or
yes,
school, like the bell's gonna ring, go to class, so you're just shoveling it in.
yes, all that stuff. And so even now I smell it different than I did before. And I noticed that when I held it up to my mouth, that first reaction was to bite, right? But the second thing is that once I like was like, oh, she's not biting, and I pulled it back. You should, when you watch the playback, you'll see, because I'm like, and then I'm like, oh, and my mouth started salivating,
Yep.
right? And it just had me step back, take a second. When I put it in my mouth, and while I was chewing, the dark chocolate went away. Then I tasted the caramel. And then I realized that the sea salt, if you take your time to eat and, you know, it's rolling around and your taste buds are at their height, the sea salt was the last thing to go away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, sorry, I went deep, girl, but that's what I got
Yeah.
out of it. And it was really just a moment, I think, because kind of like what my mother said, like your voice is really soothing. And I can tell that you have it timed out. Like sometimes in yoga, when I'm doing yoga, and they're like, take your 3 breaths and then lay down in happy baby, you know, getting happy baby,
Mhm.
your feet are up. But like they move so fast, I'm like my 3 breaths come really quick, but you have it paced out to where I was really able to get like,
The full rise and fall of your
mhm,
chest, the way that we're meant to be breathing, right?
mhm,
And even just the intention of it, because I can share today, we're looking to adopt a rescue dog, and um, I've been filling out the application and getting my referrals and talking to veterinarians all week. And today I hit send because all of the information wasn't there, which, I mean, I have 2 kids, so I really just want to put on the application like 2 kids, ages 8 and 4, healthy and alive. Like that's sufficient, right? But I play by the rules. uh, but but during that chocolate mindfulness practice with you here was the first time that I was having a moment of silence. And it's really, really beneficial for me personally to
mhm,
just be in a quiet space for a moment, and even just smelling the chocolate, right? Sometimes my mind will go to chocolates past and I'm thinking about s'mores, and sometimes I'm thinking just about the scent of the chocolate, but I'm aware that I'm thinking about the scent of the chocolate.
mhm.
And that's one of the beauties of mindfulness. And sometimes people in our retreat will say, oh, I didn't do it right because I was thinking about, you know now I need to go buy chocolate, so they're thinking about the future. I like this so much, I want to go to Costco's, right? uh, or or they're in the moment thinking about their thoughts and wondering, is this how I'm supposed to get it done? And I love those candid conversations, because for many of us, when you slow down and have those mindful eating experiences, you're actually aware. You have this awareness that you're thinking, because we have so many thoughts all day long that are unconscious, and many thoughts that aren't healthy or helpful. But when we can slow down enough to recognize that we are being, we are thinking,
Mm.
uh, that's that's doing it right. And even if you're doing it wrong, um, you're still having that practice, because like you said, every time that you do it, it can be different.
Yeah, yeah. I my mom's saying that she loved the melting in her fingers, like on her fingers, and it reminds you to like love slowing it down and doing it that way. So she enjoyed that. So thank you for sharing that with us. I want to know how you came up with this chocolate mindfulness, because when I first heard it, I was like, oh, she's helping Black girls and chocolate girls like be mindful of what they're doing. So it's like this play on words. And then I realized in talking to you, obviously, that it's a mindfulness practice. But then let's add another step. When you tell us about the MY, I'm like, oh, she a deep thinker. She a
Mm.
deep thinker.
Well, the first retreat was on my 30th birthday, with 10 of my closest friends. I rented out a yoga studio, and we did a majority of what happens today with some refinement based on feedback, because I always want to make sure that it's the most powerful experience that we can have during the retreat. At that first retreat, I had not chocolate, actually. I had Origins gumballs. Have you ever been to Origins at the mall or at their standalone stores? So it's this place with all sorts of personal care products like moisturizers and facial creams, and that's where I got my first lipstick when I was 8 years old. And so my mom, she never let me have anything with dye in it. It was just one of our family rules. And so when we would go to the mall, I would get so geeked about going into Origins because they only had the white gumballs. And so that was like no dye, and the one exception to me having this gumball. And so now that I think about it, I was having at that time a mindful moment, because you can chew a piece of gum and the flavor can be gone, and then you spit it out and that's it, right? Um, but you feel like, oh, the flavor's gone. It was too fast. But with those gumballs, there's essential oils in them. So you're smelling it, you're tasting it, the flavor lingers, and it's intense at the beginning, and then it's slowly getting milder and milder. And so I went to uh, the Origins at our mall for that retreat, and I just had this little bowl with a lid, and I was putting in my quarters and like getting enough for all 10 ladies to have this chocolate for this mint mindfulness experience. And and it was great. I loved it, but then at the end, you have to pass something around for everybody to spit out their gum, and it's just not the sexiest part of a retreat. So, from there, I looked into some different options, and as I was going through mindfulness-based stress reduction uh, course, I had been reflecting on the types of mindful eating that I've done, and of course I've done it with a salad, and you have the possibility of spinach in your teeth for the rest of the retreat. There's
Yep.
so many types of foods, and then chocolate just has this smooth and yet intense experience that I wanted to uh, share, and yet many of us have sat in front of the TV watching Netflix with our bag of chocolate. And when we get to the bottom, we're looking at, relatives like, who ate all these chocolates? Where did they go? We're watching our movie, right?
Yeah.
And in reality, who ate the chocolates?
I don't
So,
know who ate it. Melissa, you ate it. It wasn't me.
right, right. Virtually, I ate your chocolates. So it's this opportunity to take something that many of us eat when we're stressed anyways, right? You might reach for that chocolate bar because you had a bad day, or because you are feeling stressed and want to just have a moment. to take a break. And so if there's an added layer of intentionality where you're really experiencing all of your senses, it has this elevated experience. And that's why I selected chocolate.
I love it. And like our guru Elizabeth says in I Fund Women, um, she's like, "How fun is it that you came up with something where you eat chocolate at work for work? It's amazing." Um, and so I know you talk about the benefits of being mindful. What are a couple of gems you can drop on us that we can identify in our day to day lives, or a practice such as chocolate mindfulness that we can use in our day to day life?
Yeah. So mindfulness has many benefits. Some include decreasing emotional reactivity, right? So we have the opportunity to pause. There's a brief moment where we can identify that time to pause and choose how we react. You're still going to feel the feels. You're still going to experience sadness, anger, happiness, whatever it is, but there is a break where you can be intentional and decide, how am I going to proceed? What's going to work for me that fits who I am? And and so with mindfulness practices, helping you to slow down and helping you to identify your thoughts, or identify um, just opportunities to not just be in your head, but focus on your surroundings, your environment, to help ground you, that it can help with your emotional reactivity. And then focus. Uh, what I find in the retreat is that ladies often say that it feels like so much longer than 90 minutes. And
Mm.
a piece of that is because we're focusing on being right then and there, and we're not talking about, oh, this is what we have to do next. We're just taking this opportunity to focus on the present. We talked about stress reduction. Another incredible benefit of mindfulness has to do with relationships and just relationship satisfaction.
Ooh.
And and it's out there, the research is out there, and I'll be sharing more about that on my LinkedIn, to get the knowledge spreading.
Mhm.
But for me personally, what I find is when I'm focused on gratitude, when I'm focused on mindfulness, it's easier for me to not be thinking about what my husband didn't do that I asked him to do, or what what I wish he would do for myself. And then I come up with brilliant ideas, uh, like this one here. So you asked for an example of what could be done. How many movies have you watched where, or maybe books, I don't know, novels, where your partner, or the partner, right, fills up a tub with essential oils or bath salts, and has like candles and petals. I've been married for 9 years. I've never asked my husband to do that, and he also has never done that. In my mind, right? In my mind, that's like movie perfect. Um, and would that be this fascinating surprise, like mic drop moment? Absolutely. However, I could be waiting another 9 years, unless he watches this podcast, right? I could be waiting. Send him the link. Sankofa Studios, right? Uh, but but or I can be mindful and say, this is what I want to experience, and what I can do for myself to have that tactile experience of feeling the flowers, right? The petals, that olfactory experience of smelling the essential oils in the morning after everyone showers. I can just brush down the tub, right? Spray it, get it clean. Um, Wegmans is one of our grocery stores here that has, and I'm sure there are great local florists that can also offer this. Uh, Wegmans has just a little bag that I have done it. You just fill it up with their rose petals that have fallen off when they're making their bouquets, and it's like $5 for the whole pack. You put that pack in the tub, drop some essential oil. I put my electric candle in the tub where when I'm generally giving my kids a bath that's not there. Although now that they've seen me do it, they're like, "Can we have a candlelight bathtub?" Which we've done, and they love it. Right? I'm leading by example because
Mhm.
I could tell them every day, do self-care. It's important. It's just as important as physical health
Mhm.
to have mental health and wellness and all of these things. But who actually makes changes because somebody drilled it into them? People want to see somebody who embodies that experience and somebody who practices it. So you put the essential oil on top. This whole process from scrubbing to essential oil takes about 3 minutes. And when you get home, the first thing that you do is turn on the hot water and you have that experience. And that right there is self-love.
Ooh, that is self-love. I've done that. Like I was actually um texting back and forth with a friend all day and I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I just took an Epsom salt bath." And I was like, "I haven't taken like an Epsom salt bath." Like this is me just thinking in my head. I was like, "I haven't taken one since probably June." And I'm once again, I'm a Cancer sign, so I love the water. The water calls my name even
Right.
when I'm like, "I don't want to take a shower today." I get in the shower and I'm like, and I just
So
stand
good.
there and
Right.
even on the Let's Talk Live IG from last season, I have a homegirl that named Lisa, Dr. Lisa, and she does Eastern medicine. She lives in Florida now, and one of the biggest gems of the whole season, everybody still talks about it, was when we were talking about Epsom salt baths, and I was like, well, like I just want to put like a cup or 2 cups into the bath, and she's like, well, that would be like a foot bath, and I'm like, no, and she's like, no, you need to like dump the whole bag. And I'm like, the whole bag? And she's
Oh,
like, the whole
bag.
bag. And then she peeped game because she was like, you can go to Lowe's or Home Depot, whoever is not supporting terrible people, but you can go and get a huge bag of Epsom salt for like $7 or $8 because people throw it in the garden. And it may not be florally scented, but when we're talking about health and wellness for skin, essential oils are better. They haven't been manufactured in all these things. And so that is self-love, like just a bath, a good bath, a sexy bath.
Have you ever been to the a float center?
I have. My
Yes.
brother, and it's crazy. Once again, it was a man that like taught me about it. But my big brother, my brother-in-law, um, he's like totally geeked out, natural. He's a biology teacher here in Houston. An award-winning biology teacher, by the way, like teacher of the year type situation.
Wow.
And he was like, "Yeah, I go to these float centers," and I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "No, you need to go to one." So I go, and there were a couple things that like just my cleanliness phobias that get in the way. So, no, they don't get in the way. They're reality. But I in general enjoyed it. It was a weird experience because it was almost like, have you ever went to sleep but you're conscious the whole time, and when you wake up that hour's gone by and you're like, but I didn't sleep. It was like that. I was in the
Only
float.
in the floats. Yeah, that's been my experience in the float.
Okay, good. So it wasn't a isolated experience. Okay. Because I was in there and by the time like I got to flow, I closed my eyes and then it was like the ping and the lights came up and I was like, this was a rip off. Like I didn't
Oh, wow. Wow.
even
So it felt like it went by fast for you.
Yeah, it felt like a
How
time
long was
warp.
it?
What?
How long was yours?
Um the start to finish, it was 1 hour. Like you walk in the room and you
Okay.
rinse and do all that and then get
Yeah,
in.
got it. So it was 90 minutes, the one that I go to, and they use 800 pounds of medical grade Epsom salt,
Mhm.
and you just are floating on like the top inches of water, right?
Yeah.
That was one of the things that my husband and I did for one of our anniversaries, trying something new. And then when I went back, the experience was different. And that's something that uh, I always like to highlight with these self-care practices, that if you do it one time and you hate it, it's okay. I mean, saying no is one of the greatest powers that we have, right? If it's
Mhm.
not for you, fair, and it's over. However, there is the possibility that the next time or the time after that that you try it, that your mind is open to it and it feels more comfortable with those initial thoughts that were preventing it from being what it is that you needed it to be. And each time that I go for a float, it is a different experience. So I would definitely just put that out there as my personal experience, that when you're trying something, just like if you go to a restaurant and you try a meal, if you go to another restaurant on another day for the same entree, it could be your absolute favorite uh, of all time, right? So
Mhm.
if you just nix it and say it wasn't good, I'm never going to try it again, there's a possibility that it could be for you. Just it wasn't the right time then.
Mhm. And it's interesting that you say that because I'm very much like, "Oh, try it again," person. Um, and even in this conversation, I realized that maybe I don't try it again with self-care routines. Like one
Mm.
time you try it, you hit the pose, ow, you're done. Real quick, I want to say hello to everybody again. Legina, I am the host, creator, curator of the Let's Talk podcast. We're in a special edition with Melissa, the founder of My Retreat, and we're talking about we're moving through a lot of topics, but we're talking about her jam, her badassness, her brand, and chocolate mindfulness. Um, and I have a couple comments. So, Deborah, we kind of went over this, but she's not a fan of chocolate, and she wants to know what other foods rather than chocolate to bring. And from what you said, anything will work. It's more about the mindfulness and getting rid of this premise of there's a right and wrong way to do things. Um,
Exactly. I personally enjoy a mindful cup of tea. I also know that if you choose to try something that you've actually never had before, so maybe you've never had star fruit, or whatever it is, that then you're taking away um, the possibility that your mind could go to, where it's like, I eat this all the time, I know what it's like, which generally people are pleasantly surprised, but it's also cool to mix it up. So I applaud you for being open to trying different things beyond chocolate, because truly the chocolate is the way to grab attention,
mhm.
and yet there's many layers to what you can take away from the experience with whatever it is that you choose to eat. As long as it's edible, bring it on.
Yes, as long as it's edible, bring it on. And Deborah was also saying she just tends to stuff her face, so this mindfulness is really good for that. And they're loving your rose petal idea. That's a good one because roses have oils in them once you break the cells, similar to mints. I learned that bartending. You roll it around, you get the fragrant, and it can be really essential.
Do you
I
know the mint? So I before I accepted Islam, I'm a Muslim. I was in Spain and I went into this bar in Madrid, and uh, it was during college, and my friends were doing what they were doing, and I just sat down because they asked me to come. And the bartender came up to me and he said, "What do you drink?" And I said, "Actually, I don't drink." And he was like, "I have something for you." And he made me that virgin mojito
Mhm.
for the first time, and the mint was just out of this world.
Amazing.
It was incredible. And of course, having any first experience in another country is also pretty special in itself. But the mint is something that I just adore. So when you brought that up, it was like, yes, I had an experience with a bartender who gave me mint, and it was luxurious and just a mindful experience, which is why I incorporated it in the in-person brick and mortar retreats.
Yeah, it really is, and you're never lying about that when you're in another country stuff, or when you travel or experience something for the first time. It just hits different. And I remember that being in Jamaica. What did I try? Rum. I'm not really a rum drinker, and I'm in Jamaica, and everybody's like, try this one rum. It's a no hangover rum, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. And so I go in, I'm partying, I'm drinking it all day, and I take a bottle back to the States. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is a good part. Let's do this. Let's get this rum. And I open it and I drink it, and it tasted disgusting. Oh my God. It was like a whole, and it was the same bottle. So this wasn't like a new bottle, different distillery, different year. It's the same bottle. And it really goes to, once again, like we're talking about, kind of like with your mind and where your mind can go and the influences around you that directly affect that kind of stuff. Um, and I know that through my retreat, and you as a human, your goal is to reach a million women, 1 million. And I want to know where you're at with that. And I also would like to know, um, because we know this app is going to play a huge part in touching more people. I want to know more about the app.
Definitely. Well, I am in conversations with multiple investors, and they too are excited to learn how many people we've reached with my retreat and self-care practices. So that number is proprietary and not one that I can share yet, but I cannot wait until I can.
Okay.
And I can certainly say that it's been 3+ years, and we've had corporate retreats, we've had the in-person retreats, the virtual retreats, the experiences like this on podcasts
Mhm.
where we're sharing self-care practices. So uh, the number is growing daily. Uh, and as far as the chocolate mindfulness app goes, it's an opportunity to support anyone. Like you said, men also like to have baths or do self-care, and that's the feedback that I was getting when I was only offering my retreat to women.
Mhm.
Men would ask me if I was pitching, or just stopping by to see the retreat. They would be like, so why don't you offer this for men? When are you going to offer it for men? So that's an opportunity with the Chocolate Mindfulness app, that it is for all genders, available for whoever um, wants to have those experiences. And at the forefront of my mind are the professional women with school-aged children who are facing the stressors of either remote learning or sending their kids back to school during this pandemic. And I want to ensure that they have a space in the app in just a few minutes at a time to experience the gratitude journaling detox, and to have it scheduled where the app reminds you at the cadence of your choice that it's chocolate mindfulness time, and that you truly deserve that me time, that break. And for some of us, our kids might be present and they might want to join in. I know our kids sometimes, instead of now saying, I want dessert or I want a piece of chocolate, they'll just take the piece of chocolate out of the cabinet and come over and sit with me and say, we need chocolate mindfulness, don't we? And I'll just look at them and be like, my heart is melting. Yes, we do. We need chocolate mindfulness. So whether or not uh, people choose to do it with their kids, without their kids, if they don't have kids, right? It's just an opportunity to slow down, and what I've focused on as it's been developed, and it's going to launch at the beginning of 2021. So it is around the corner, and we have 100 people who have already pre-purchased the app through our our I Fund Women campaign, that I truly see it as this opportunity to schedule self-care,
Mhm.
and I love it. I just I can't speak highly enough about it, but just knowing that there's accessibility. That's what's so important to me when I do my price points for the
Mhm.
retreat itself. At the $45 level, when people come, they're telling me I would pay double or more,
Mm.
and that's great feedback, and as the business grows, you know, there will be different tiers, uh, how to make it sustainable, right? And to work on, reaching that level of, that business model. However, right now, my focus is getting to those million women,
Mhm.
and the app makes it accessible to anyone around the world that has a an Android or an iPhone, right? Like, if you have a cell phone, you can have the experience at any time of day. There's this one woman, um, who said she wanted to come to the retreat, was responding on so many of our posts, like the Woosah challenge, how do you relax? And I just reached out to her privately and said, "Hey, what tell me more about what it would take for you to come to the retreat. You get it. You get the importance. You're almost there. What is it?" And she said, "Well, this is the country that I live in. When you offer
Mm.
it, it's like 1 in the morning," right? And I totally get that, and I also wanna make sure that it's accessible for whatever time it is, because right now some people are up at, 3 in the morning if they can't sleep, and if they could
Mhm.
have, this gratitude journaling detox that takes a couple minutes to remember what it is that you're grateful for so that you can slow down and potentially think less about the things that you're worried about, then it could
Yeah.
help, uh, you know, falling back asleep, or help, whatever it is that you need to do just to get your mind to relax.
Yeah. Your app is going to reach globally, and it's going to get you beyond the million people mark, or yeah, the million people mark, with women on the forefront, which is, I think well, I know our two brands are very much in line like that. Even with my co-working space, we've had tons of conversations about um, being in front of investors and all those things, and the challenges of how we look, or whatever it is, how we look is an obstacle. And even in our missions, talking about women, and I always tell people, I say women and women led teams for a reason, because women are leading teams, and the teams don't look just like women, or just like the color, or just like the religion, or the height, or the weight. And so I want the us space to be very thoughtful and mindful of women and women of color. But anybody can come in the space. Anybody and everybody celebrates women. I mean, women are how the world was birthed. I mean, come on. Um, and so I'm really, really excited for your app. I'm just going to put out in the universe, y'all, that she is halfway to her goal. She's like at 500,000 already. And if she's not, you better help her get there. Um, is the app available to download now? That's the question. That's what somebody's asking.
The app will launch and go live at the beginning of next year.
Okay.
Right now, what's available is the iPhone Women campaign to purchase, pre-order the app, and have the option to experience it before the world experiences it. And again, I've made it incredibly accessible, and that's a price point based on my customer discovery of talking with, hundreds of people to ask them, what type of technology are you using for mindfulness, and what do you like about it, what don't you like about it, and why, and how much do you spend on it, and do you use the trial, and all of these questions that I ask them. And so I've put the price point, uh, very, very affordable, at $10 per year. Uh, and that is something that helps, because we know when you spend something that you have more of a commitment to it, right? I spent those $10, so I'm gonna at least open it up and see what it's like. But also something at that price point is accessible to some of the people, our neighbors, our friends in our communities that need the support that the Chocolate Mindfulness app offers, and I don't want it to exclude anyone.
Yeah. So I have up on the screen, y'all, the I Fund Women campaign for Melissa's My Retreat app, which is the chocolate mindfulness. And I'm on her website right now. So I'm just reading and I'm just gonna read directly from it. Um, and don't think that the fundraising price is where she needs to stop. Web app or app development is so expensive. And so we set realistic goals for our crowdfunding, but as we surpass them, there's always a place where funds can go. And the price point that I am looking at, it's $15. And this is how we woosah. It's the My Retreat app plus a shout out on the My Retreat social media. And just thank yous for contributing to the Woosah, aka relaxing. And there's 3 of those left. So there's 3 of those left. There's 3 of the November last My Retreat experience you can do with Melissa, which I'm going to probably hop off and chat with my mom about us snagging up 2 of them and doing it together because that would be really good practice. And I'm moving back into my yoga season and maybe keto. So I like going centered and balanced. I think I'm a kinder person when my body is aligned with my mind and heart and my soul and everything. So yeah, that's really important. So you have an app, you have the physical My Retreats that hopefully you're able to start again at some point in 2021, and you have the virtual one, you have the last one of the season for women in November, and then you have the couples one, which I won't experience yet, but I will guarantee you my business when I get a boo and a husband. I will be there so you can get us in line if we're not already like super in line. So there's that. So mom, I'll be contacting you so we can get up on this My Retreat stuff. And then the last thing I want to know, Melissa, is how can the LaRae Infinity Let's Talk community support you and help you and uplift you in any type of way? The floor is yours. We are all ears.
My retreat focuses on a model where we're connecting mind, body, and breath. And what I ask for all of your listeners to do is to schedule self care right now. Whether it means putting a reminder in your phone for tomorrow to be still, whether it's shutting off your phone or your laptop now and just being outdoors. Based on the time, it's dark right now. Just looking at the stars, if you're in a place that you can see them. I know yesterday when I was driving home, I looked out at the sky and realized that I hadn't seen the sky all day long. And sometimes what I need and what I'm reminded in those moments is that if I just set a reminder for myself, um, literally to look at the sky, um, then it gets done and I feel like I'm accomplishing something on my got done list. So what's already on my phone every single day, there's a reminder that pops up at 5:30 and it says you are already enough. And because I've had it on there for years, over a year, maybe a year and a half now, uh, not only do I truly take notice and pause when it pops up? But then my mind goes to uh, reasons why I'm enough and ways that I can fold that into the remainder of my day, whether or not I make a fabulous dinner or I make something quick in the microwave. Like yesterday, after my 6th meeting, I gave the kids, bean and cheese burritos by Amy's, and they were microwaved in 2 minutes. Um, but they got to have mommy time because I didn't stand in the kitchen for an hour making a meal. So just that's my ask, is for you to schedule self-care right now and hold yourself to it by either writing it down, put it on your whiteboard, on a post-it note, in your phone, whatever your system is, so that you will practice self-care in whatever way it is that you need.
I love it. So, my ask for everybody on here and my viewers is to start following Melissa at ROC My Retreat on Facebook and Instagram. And I say that because we all need a positive, funny, caring person on our feed. And she's one of those people. She has this cute video of her son talking about chocolate mindfulness where he's like, and you take it. And he's saying what his mom says. And it just shows how much we can positively imprint on children and how they're born into the world, how they are. And we can just bring light, and they give us it back, and it's so innocent. And I really enjoyed that. So my ask is for y'all to get involved with My Retreat and Melissa in some type of way. And I was going to ask her this question, but I charge y'all to go ask her yourself what this got done list is. Like, she's referred to it. I've marked it. She's referred to it like 5 times. And so it's something that is not a gimmick, because she uses it, because she referred to this is a got done is being on the Let's Talk Live podcast. And I really appreciate you taking your time and having your mom come in and do what mothers do, have your back, so you could have a little bit of quiet time to sit and talk to us and let us celebrate you, because I think it's so important when we're moving in the world of entrepreneurialism. In a lot of our businesses, a lot of women of color right now, a lot of women, a lot of entrepreneurs, our problems that we're solving are social impact problems, right? And you are going about it so beautifully. So we appreciate our moms as always, and we appreciate you from the mother side to the baby side to the child side. And I just really appreciate that. So I ask everybody to get involved with My Retreat, whether it's saying, yo, Melissa, you rock, or putting your money where your mouth is and getting in on this My Retreat, getting in on her crowdfunding campaign, reward-based crowdfunding. So you're not just giving her money, she's giving you something in return. And that's what I want y'all to do, is take something away from this sit with you, with Melissa, and go about it like that. Yeah. So yeah. We are wrapping up. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us, me, the viewers, before we click off on this? It's not so dark here, but on this Saturday.
What I say every time at the end of each retreat, which is that self-care is a necessity, and with chocolate mindfulness, it's luxurious.
Yes, I love it. Y'all, this playback will be available on Facebook and my YouTube channel. I have some powerful interns that are moving within my brand, and I have a TikTok going. I have the YouTube channel, and the Us Space website's about to relaunch all the way, and so there's a lot going on. But this playback will be available on YouTube and Facebook. And be looking out for the next special edition next month. We're going to go into like some financial freedom type stuff with a really cool podcaster that I met virtually again. Because once again, I don't think I said it, but Melissa and myself have never met in person. So another one of my New York sisses that I have not met in person that I can't wait till I do. And, if you have never listened to Let's Talk before, become an LRI listener. You can catch us on live streams every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central Time, and that would be 9 p.m. for Eastern time. And thank you, y'all. The season's been going strong. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Appreciate you, and I appreciate you, Melissa. And as always, when you're moving through the world, and you're thinking about how you can simply make the world better, one, practice a little chocolate mindfulness. And two, tell your story, be your own brand, live your truth, and stand in your moment. I really appreciate everybody being on this stream. We're taking a break next week. I'm going to be a millennial, and I'm going to go lay up under my mama and act like I have no cares in the world. I've taken a COVID test and I've been quarantining, and I really don't be fooling with people and fuck with people in 2020 right now anyways, unless it's virtual, because I want to be safe and do my part for us to move in back into betterness in some type of way. So I appreciate everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time. All right.